YouTube. A bit nervous about this, not very comfortable in front of a camera, despite the fact I teach for a living. It's very odd speaking to a camera instead of people. And if I'm looking off to the side, that's because I'm watching the screen to make sure I'm in shot. Anyway, I thought what I would do is do a video to show kind of why I've ended up making leather stuff and knives, and perhaps also show people how that came about. Also, just to say thank you to the people that have inspired me on YouTube mostly, Instagram as well. I think that's appropriate. I'm gonna have to start and stop this video, no doubt, quite a few times because I'm going to be losing my track, because it's a bit of a new thing for me. Anyway, I guess it started about a year ago. We're not far off the Bushcraft show, and I went for the first time last year to the Bushcraft show. And I had been doing a bit of research. I've been watching a few people. I've been learning about bushcraft, watching people on YouTube. I'd started watching even people who were knife making and doing leather stuff, like Lee Bennett of RedKnives, Sandy of Jacklore, and Scott from Wessex Blades. So I knew some of these people from YouTube. When I got to the Bushcraft show, I decided to have a look round. There was some amazing stuff there. Ben Orford was there with some of his gear, and I bought one of his knives. And also the Identity store were there with all their leather stuff. So I decided to buy some basic tools and a little bit of leather to take back with me to have a go. I'd seen some of the work of Sonny from Beneath the Stars, and he had a stall there, so I got a good close look. I'd already bought one or two bits from him from eBay, but bought some stuff from his store. So I've got kind of loads of influences and ideas. I also started learning from, I'm not sure how to say this, Leodis Leather in Aitkinson. Amazing. If you want to get into leather making, guys, it's fantastic. I mean, there's other good stuff out there as well, of course. Anyway, the first sheath I made, actually the very first thing I made was a cover for the axe that I made at the Bushcraft show. But anyway, I haven't got that down with me here, I don't think. No, I didn't bring it down. But here's the first bit of leather work that I did. It's a bit rough and ready. It's currently housing a Paul Baker knife, which is quite a sweet knife, Japanese steel. I do love my Japanese steel. Yeah, so that was attempt number one. Bit rough and ready. The edges aren't really very smooth. Stitching's not too shabby, and I got some good feedback. You know, for a first go, people said it was good, so that sort of encouraged me. Like I said, I started learning more on YouTube, but I also decided I would like to work and you know, learn to do it properly, and perhaps learn to do some tooling. So I booked some lessons with an amazing guy who's called Ginger Guest, Ginge to his buddies, and spent some days with Ginge. And his leatherwork's fabulous. You should check out his channel on YouTube. Well, sorry, Facebook. I don't think he's into YouTube yet. And you can learn a lot if you get a chance to spend time with him, even more. And you know, Ginge helped me to start making leather stuff of a higher standard. This kind of thing. Made a belt together. I guess you'd call these my apprentice pieces. Oh great, the battery's just about going. Never mind. I apologise for all the erms as well. I do that as a teacher too. Little pouch. Yeah. This kind of tooling stuff. He showed me lots of sort of techniques for dyeing as well, and using not just dyes but antique gels, getting different sort of colour effects going on. So yeah, very useful time that I spent with him. Great guy too, good sense of humour, likes pies. So I start making leather stuff for friends, for family, but after a while, and for my own knives of course, but after a while you kind of think, well, I'd quite like to put something in the leather that I'm making. I'd like, I started looking at, well, I wouldn't mind having a go at making a knife. So, by the way, if you're wondering why is he in a greenhouse, this actually is where I make knives at the moment. It's not ideal. It's very hot, as you can probably imagine. Good light though, really good light. Some of you guys that I see with all your little lights and everything over the top will be very, very jealous of the light I've got in here. It's really, really good. And yeah, well, getting back to the knives, I saw my opportunity on one of the Facebook channels where I think it was Trade Post, Bushcraft Trade Post. So a guy was selling Morra blades off. I think they maybe were seconds, but it didn't really matter. And I bought a blade, bought a couple of blades actually, and had a go at making a handle. I made this on a little belt sander, a hand belt sander that I'd had for years, a little tiny one. It's, I forget what the wood is, if I'm honest, ebony maybe, and some various horn and a little brass bolster going on there. And again, got really nice feedback from people. I made a sheath for it. Also got a logo, which I'm showing you the wrong way up there. I don't know. There we go. Decided to go with the paw of snow leopard, which is my absolute favourite animal, and just got the initials in there, if you can just about see. The RR. So that's kind of my first outfit, rig if you like. Now where do we go from there? Well, I started sort of trying other bits and bobs, tried some wet moulding and started making these little pouches. Anybody who watches Leodis Leather will recognise this. Pigskin lined, just like the one Ian did. Stitched round. I didn't stitch all the way around like Ian did. Well, I did on some, I did on quite a few. Some I did, some I didn't. This is for my sort of carry. What are these? CR, can't remember. CRKT Desert something or other. That goes in there. Okay. Yeah, I've done a few of those, quite a few of those. Quite a lot of them have sold. This is a version of it with a bit of stitching, which isn't too shabby. And this one again lined. And this one, I like the sort of double because I can change the sort of depth and whatever's in there to fit. So I think the lighter goes in there most of the time. Right, started having a go at a few fire steels. Started stabilising wood. Started off very simply, just using a bleed pump, but soon realised that wasn't really drawing out as much air as it could be or should be. So I bought a pump, a vacuum pump, and made my little outfit to stabilise wood. That's spalted birch, I think, that one. And then I decided to have a go at making my own design of knife. I've only got very limited sort of equipment and stuff, so and I've certainly got no forge or heat treating gear. So I cut the first one out using a hacksaw and bought myself a grinder from a guy at work that was going cheap, a 4x36, and made a designer blade that eventually became known as the Bobcat after I asked for ideas for what to name the prototype, and that was named by pretty much, well, one of my first customers for the Bobcat knife was Matt Martin. He's got Bobcat 1. He came up with that name, so cheers, thank you for that, Matt. And anyway, this is where I'm at, I suppose, with the Bobcats, by making these. This is Bobcat 2. This has also now been purchased and will be going to its new owner, Will Canavan, I think. Amazing sculptor, has superb stuff on Facebook. Anyway, this is Bobcat 2. It's 4mm thick 01 tool steel. It's a Scandi grind, 15-degree bevel, and it's spalted birch, loveless bolts, copper and brass, and a brass lanyard tube. Got red liners, and I've got a bog oak sort of little bolster here. I pinned the bolster after getting sort of feedback from Mark Hill to say that might be vulnerable. It's not perfect, but it's you know, it's only my second. Those of you that are really good knife makers will be able to no doubt spot all the little problems and things I've got to work on. Certainly got to work on my finish on the flats. Lots of room for improvement there. But it's a nice knife. It's damn sharp. It's got a good edge, so the guys who heat treated it for me did a good job. Just seemed to pit the blade a little bit maybe, and that's taken some work to get out. Made a tool sheath for it using what I'd learnt from Ginge. Got a dangler on this. I also make multi-carries now, which I've shown in one of my other videos. I auctioned this on Bushcraft Trade Post, just to sort of see if I could generate interest, see what people thought my work was worth. Yeah, it went okay. So there we go. That's kind of where we're at. I had some really nice comments from people on YouTube. I mean, people who I've been watching and have a lot of respect for. Who've I had comments from? Scott from Wessex Blades left a nice comment about, I think it was this one. Dell from RedKnives and Tools, I think he is now. He used to be Dirty Room Knives. Made a nice comment on Instagram. So stuff like that. It means a lot, actually, guys. It really does. It really does. And I should mention that on my prototype, I asked on Instagram if somebody would do the heat treat, and Lee from LB Custom, Lee Bennett, amazing, fabulous. He offered to do that for me, and he did that first heat treat for me, which a big thank you to Lee for that. Other people that have been very generous with their advice: Jason, Willowood Knives, really helpful. If I ever email him, he's straight back with answers and help. So it's a great community. It's a really nice bunch of guys out there, and without you guys, I certainly wouldn't be making this kind of stuff. Where I'd like to go next in the future is to get out of the greenhouse. I've got a shed next door here which I'm thinking of converting. It's a 6x10. a bit cramped, but it's not as big as this, but it would certainly be better than baking. So I'll take you along, kind of, I suppose, for the ride with my knife making and the development of where I go. Anyway, I'm running out of things to think of to say, so hopefully you've not been too bored. And I apologise for the ums once again. So this is Rob from, I haven't come up with a name yet for myself, for my knives really, other than the name for the knife itself, the Bobcat, so that's another thing to work on. Anyway, bye for now.